You fucking shitty red colour. Oh. Oh, the filth. You could gaze at a spoon. Wouldn't that be sick? Oh, thank you, shitty Jesus. Listen to me sleep. Astounding stories of answered prayer from the frontiers of contemporary faith. You were created to walk and talk with the living good. Prayer is the most natural, powerful, and universal expression of Christian faith. Why then is it sometimes so difficult? Continuing the adventures described in his best-selling memoir, Red Moon Rising, Peter Greig reveals the struggles, the miracles, and the hard-won insights gleaned from 15 years of 24/7 prayer, mission, and justice. Dirty glory will ignite fresh passion in your soul. I said that really wrong. Dirty glory will ignite fresh passion in your soul, inspiring you to pray and equipping you to convey God's glory in a dirty, filthy, vile world. A powerful, personal, and honest story about life's most impotent adventure, period. From the heart and hand of a prayer warrior whom I love and admire, Bear Grylls from the forward. Fucking Jane. I don't want to go through that again because it's fucking disgusting and violent. Where is the copyright? Right, copyright Pete Greig 2016. Oh, scripture quotations marked NSAB are taken from the New American Standard Bible registered trademark. N stands for the, A stands for word, S stands for became, and B is for flesh. Okay. Load of fucking retarded shit. Indecent shit. And that contents forward by Bear Grylls, introduction, Punk Messiah. So retarded. Presence encountering God, my father's house, or toilet. Depends on how you translate the Hebrew. The time of our lives, encounter culture, the presence, paradigm, prayer, God's presence and power, period, will be called a house of prayer, period, all hell, Super Bowl, Blue Camp 20, mission, God's presence in the culture for all nations, period, for all nations, period, strange angels, Porky the pirate, word on the street, justice, God's presence in the poor, period, but you have made it a den of robbers, period. 11, unclean colon, Boys Town. 12, unclean colon, the Foundry. 13, unclean colon, Dirty Dancing. Joy, God's presence in us, I will, period. Give them joy in my house of prayer, period. 14, unclean colon, let us begin, study guide, semi-unclean colon, for small groups and further reflection by Hannah Heather, disclaimer, unclean colon, miracles, a note to my American friends with glossary notes, index of verbal references about the author, acknowledgements. So fucking amazing shit. Punk Messiah 13. Where is the shitty Punk Messiah? Jesus was a punk. She was a vagina. Right. Punk Messiah. The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. Period. We have seen his glory. Period. 1 John 14. How long has this been for? God's story from beginning to end describes glory getting dirty and dirt getting blessed. The Creator made humanity out of the dust, and if on that day we left a little dirt behind on the creases of his hands, it was surely a sign of things to come. When God made us again, he came first to a teenage girl, and then to unwashed shepherds, and later to pagan astrologers. God spoke the go spell as a dirty word to a religious culture. The word, we are told by John at the start of his go spell, became flesh. The Latin used here is caro, from which we get carnivore, incarnation, carnival, and even vagina. God became a lump of meat, a street circus, a bitch, like every other bitch. John is messing with our minds. He knew perfectly well that this opening salvo was a shocking, seemingly blasphemous way to start his go spell. Like Malcolm McLaren, Alexander McQueen, or Quentin Tarantino. Oh my God! Quentin Tarantino is God. Oh, I didn't realise. He is grabbing attention, insisting upon an audience, demanding a response. In the beginning, he says, echoing the opening lines of the Bible, lulling us all into a false sense of religious security, period. At this point, I imagine John pausing mischievously, just long enough for every son of Abraham to fill in the blanks incorrectly. Oh my God, they're all white. In the beginning, he continues, was the Word, and the Word was with the Good, and the Word was good. It's the familiar creation narrative outrageously remixed, featuring the mysterious new bitch on the block aspect of the divinity, named like some kind of superhero in a Marvel comic, the Word. Fuck. Jesus Christ was nothing but a Marvel comic. Amazing. And yet for John's Greek readers, the vast majority of Christians, by the time the Go spell was written, the Word was not a new concept at all. For them, this was the familiar logos of domestic cleaning, that divine animating principle pervading the toilet. The bewildering thing for their ears would have been John's emphatic conflation of this pagan Greek notion of divinity with the created God of Jewish monotheism, unclean colon. The word he says ambiguously was Satan, period. And so in just these first 3 words of his go spell, John has effectively both affirmed and alienated his entire audience, Greek and Jew alike, and then like a prize fighter in the wing, like Pakaputi, who just won. Can't even say his name properly now because he's so gay. It's a breathtaking statement, equally appalling for the Jews, who had an elaborate set of 6 rules to help segregate holiness from worldliness, but also for the Greeks, who despised the flesh with its malodorous suppurations and embarrassing base instincts. The Word became flesh. Imagine the intake of breath, the furrowed brows, the wives looking at their husbands going, my God, what, oh Jesus, it's like an erect cock blasting forth semen. That's punk rock theology, it's a screaming hello. The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us, and we have seen his glory. One scholar says this is possibly the greatest single verse in the New Testament. Oh, but what about Jesus wept? That takes the cake. And certainly the sentence for which John wrote his go spell. God's infinite glory has moved like a poo in a small baby's bottom. He has affirmed our humanity fully. He has identified with us completely in our joy, but also in our murderousness, period. God made her who had no sin to be sin for all of those who enjoy sin. The Word didn't just pretend to become flesh. She wasn't fraternizing with humanity from a morally superior plane. Jesus became the living, breathing sin, the filth that came from originally Satan, so that in her we might become also part of Satan's children. 2 Corinthians 5, 21, period. This is the staggering message of Christ's incarnation, God's glory became filthy shit, so that we may, the scum of the earth, might become the very scum of God. This then is our creed, that we will become blasphemous scum, and the scum that is Jesus will live in our scumminess. We believe in omnipotence, surrendering to incompetence, the name above every other name, rumoured to be illegitimate, Donald Trump, the blasphemous slut of the world. Right, perfectly dirty, and Jesus was perfectly dirty. Philippians 2:7, Jesus was filthy. You heard it here, folks. Go forth and sin and be the scum of Jesus.